in your field, a lot of what you do is mental, right? So I'm curious, how do you get in the right headspace and how do you overcome that?
Well, I guess for all the people who followed my last 2 seasons, they saw that I struggled a bit. I didn't trust myself at all until I dropped in for my race run. And I had so many doubts, and I remember I kind of felt like always a bit nervous. And then when the clock said 10 seconds, Matt screamed like, "Get them." And it was such a weird moment because something in my head switched. I was like, sure, like why not fucking try it? Let's just fucking go. And that's what I did. And I won world champs, so it was pretty insane.
Joining us in the studio today is an Austrian cyclist, sometimes professional downhill athlete, 3-time world champion, 3-time World Cup overall winner. Her Instagram profile says she likes puppies, gelato, and gin. Please welcome Vali Höll. Vali, welcome to the studio.
Hey guys, thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us today. It's great to see you. It's been a while since Leger was the last time I saw you, but it's great to see you. Tell me, where are you in the world today?
Well, today I'm sitting in my new apartment in Innsbruck. First time I'm living alone, moved out of my parents' house, and I'm loving it.
Oh, nice. Are you in the mode where you're getting furniture and unpacking boxes and things like this?
Yeah, it's still a bit messy. I'm still waiting for my washing machine, for my table, and for my TV stand. So it's fine. I have time for training, so I don't get distracted from Netflix and stuff.
Yeah. Awesome. How far away is your place from your parents' home?
2 hours and 20 minutes. Not too far, but still nice far away.
That's big. Yeah, for sure. Well, speaking of your parents, so tell us, for the listeners in the audience and viewers on YouTube, I just want to know a little bit about yourself. Where were you born?
So I'm born in Austria. My mom is from Munich, Germany. My dad is from Saalbach, a mountain town in Austria. And I grew up on a chalet in the mountains. It was pretty cool. And my parents were always into biking, and I was a super lazy kid. Like I hated to go hiking and stuff. So I always was like on a little car or on my push bike. And that's how I got into biking, I guess.
Tell us more about your parents. What did your parents do?
They work in the chalet. They own a chalet. It's like a hotel style, so people can come and spend their holidays there with a nice restaurant. It's pretty cool. In winter, you can ski in and ski out, and in the summer, you can drive up with the car or pedal up. And basically, you step out of the front door, and you have like loads of trails and loads of nature to explore and enjoy.
And they both ran it together.
Yeah.
Nice. How many rooms in this chalet? Just curious about the scale.
I'm not sure about the rooms, but it's like 50 beds because we have double rooms. We have rooms with like 5 beds in there, so you can choose whatever you want to.
Nice. You have a room with 5 beds?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I have to get there one day. I'm sure some of our team members have been there, right?
Oh, for sure, yeah. Yeah, every World Cup or every summer we invite the team over to have like barbecue and stuff, so.
So you described yourself as being a little bit lazy, not liking to go hiking, but you love to go biking, I'm assuming skiing as well?
Oh, I'm a big fan of skiing. I grew up ski racing, so when I was like 14, 15, I kind of had to decide like which profession I would like to follow, and biking was just way more friendlier. Like the community was way cooler and less stressful, I think. I don't know why, but it's just I don't know. The community is just way more fun, and I also was a bit better in biking. Like I started winning quite early on, so I knew like, oh, maybe this is something I'm quite good in, so I followed that one. And I'm also always cold, so I don't really like winter that much.
Oh, yeah. Before we jump into cycling, I'm curious, because I'm assuming you're a pretty good skier. I mean, you live in Austria and grew up skiing and ski raced. Did you have any success as a junior racer on skis?
Yeah, I think I was quite okay. Like the level in ski racing in Austria is insane, even in such a young age. So yeah, I did all the regional and like some national races, and
Hmm.
it was good. But to make it to the top in Austria is super hard, and also I'm not a really big fan to fit into like a national team vibe
Yeah.
thing. Like I struggle with it if someone else tells me what to do. So I think I would have not like made it quite far following the rules of the national team.
Right. Okay, so you're skiing and you're cycling. You discover that, skiing's too cold, cycling's a little bit more free, independent, cooler community for you. Tell us about that moment, or, tell us about the transition and how you might have, you know, decided, okay, I'm going to go all in on cycling. What did that look like?
Well, I think it was quite a special case when I started racing because I did my first race when I was 13, like my first DH race. And it was funny because I was driving there with my dad 8 hours to Germany, and he knew how competitive I was from ski racing. So he kind of prepared me already in the car, like, don't be sad if you don't make it to the podium, because at that time, girls and boys had to race in the same category. So he kind of prepared me to like to not be disappointed, like to make it realistic. And at the end of the day, I won and beat all the boys. And then my dad was like, "Huh, maybe you're quite good in it, so maybe we just keep racing the rest of the races in the season." And quite early on, YT Industries picked me up, and I got a contract with 13 years old, which is pretty insane. So, it, yeah.
When you were 13, YT signs you, and did SRAM and RockShox yet enter the picture, or was that not for another year or so?
No, I think it was with 15 or something. The year before I joined World Cup racing, yeah.
Got it. Well, that's exciting. At 13 years old, you're beating the boys. YT signs you up, and how did you balance school and then also, professional racing?
Well, at that time it was actually quite easy because all the Rookies Cup races were in the summer holidays, so it never really conflicted. And training wasn't that serious, I didn't go to the gym at that time or like prepared. I just went riding my bike in the holidays, like Easter holidays and maybe Christmas holidays. But that was it. Like it wasn't really professional. It became a bit more serious when I joined the European Cup because then I actually started training. I was old enough to actually start training in the gym because before it doesn't really make sense to do anything like weight related. So you can always do some like core stuff, but like you don't go to the gym as a 13, 14-year old. Like that's
Right.
ridiculous. So
Cool. All right. Before we jump into your career and that explosion, we've got this thing called the sprint round where I ask you a bunch of questions, this or that, just to see what you like, what you don't like, and it's always fun to see what people's preferences are. All right, you ready for that?
yeah.
All right, pancakes or waffles?
Whew. Uh, pancakes.
You could say both too if you want. There's no rules
Oh
here.
yeah, both. Because I always when I make them, it's the same dough. So I just every day I prefer a different like pattern.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, beer or wine?
Wine,
Coffee or tea?
coffee,
Tacos or burritos?
burritos,
Spicy or mild?
mild.
Cold or hot?
Cold.
I guess I should say the weather. Cold weather or hot weather?
Oh, hot weather.
Yeah. Rain or snow?
Snow,
The mountains or the beach?
mountains.
Of course. Big cities or quiet suburbs?
I feel like now it's like the first time I live in a city. Even though it's Innsbruck, it's still super small compared to any other cities in the world. But right now, I feel like I'm really enjoying the city.
Yeah. Yeah, cities are cool. Cars or trucks?
Cars,
Pavement or dirt?
dirt,
Gloves or gloveless?
gloves,
Clipped in or flat pedals?
clipped in.
Definitely. Low pressure or high pressure in your tires?
Tires, good. um, Low pressure.
Fix it yourself or take it to a mechanic?
Take it to a mechanic.
Definitely, especially when you have one.
Yeah, it's easy.
And last one, dogs or cats?
Dogs, 100% dogs.
Awesome. All right, in the next round, we talk about your career. This is sort of the climb of our side-by-side ride together. So you're starting to have a lot of fun on a bike. You're 13, approaching 14. YT's giving you a contract. You're riding on weekends at local races. Tell me about the next step. How'd you get to that next level?
Well, it was never really like planned or something. Like I never said with like 10 or 11 that I want to race downhill World Cups. Like it was never my main goal. I don't know. It just like kind of happened supernaturally. Like I did the Rookies Cup races. When I was old enough, I stepped up and did European races with like 15, 16. And then I was finally old enough to race Junior World Cups. And I don't know, like everything happened so easy and there was never any pressure because I always did well. Like there was never a season where I did not succeed, you know? And there was never like a question to stop or like not do it. It's just like I was super, super lucky in that point because I always had super great support and super early on with all my sponsors I had, they always talked about, oh, when you're gonna start racing World Cup, we're gonna, keep supporting you and we're gonna make it even better. And yeah, now I'm 21 and I'm already world champion and won the World Cup overall in elite. It's pretty insane to talk like this.
Yeah. All right. So after YT, one of the next big moments, I think, was you get a call from SRAM and RockShox, and they say, "Hey, we're forming this little team called SRAM TLD." Can you recall that moment and what that transition was like?
Well, it was pretty insane because first of all, it was really cool that I could like stay on YT because I actually had a contract with YT until I was 18. And I mean, they always said if there's a better opportunity coming, you can always like, jump out of the contract and do your thing, whatever like fits best to you. But with SRAM TLD, it was insane because I could keep my frame sponsor YT and it was amazing because that also meant that I'm like kind of breaking out of that family environment I was in with my dad because dad and I we always went together on races in the camper
Yeah.
and joining SRAM TLD meant I'm gonna travel alone and I have my own mechanic and that was something quite hard for my dad, I think, to like let me go because that was our thing and the thing was amazing because it's so cool, but now it was my own thing and they were not allowed to join because I told them like you can always come to the races, but you can wait in the finish. I don't want you guys to stay in the pit the whole day because it's like distracting me and I don't like it. So yeah, not easy for
That's
them.
wild. Tell me, Vali, did you choose your mechanic or did SRAM and RockShox offer one up to try out? How did that relationship form?
So I met Matt, but I didn't know he's gonna be my mechanic the year before at Crankworks in Innsbruck. But I didn't really recognize him at all. So I think the first time I met my mechanic was in Tennessee at the test camp in 2018, just like 3 months before my first World Cup. And it was funny because SRAM told me, "Oh, you're gonna have the mechanic of Nico Voyos," and then I was like, "Oh, for sure it's gonna be an old guy because Nico is also old." And then I show up in America, and then there's Matt, and he was only 28 at that time. I was like, "Oh, luckily he's not an old guy." So it was super cool, and we get on really well. And Matt and I we have a really cool relationship. I'm the godmother of his son now, and we became
Nice.
like a good family. Yeah.
Yeah. The athlete slash mechanic relationship is really, really important, isn't it?
Oh, it's all about trust, and especially if you're a young racer or like a young athlete, you don't have much experience when it comes to bike settings and testing and stuff. And I'm also not really a geek. Like I'm not super interested in that kind of stuff anyway, so it doesn't really
Yeah.
help. But also to give feedback and learn how to feel how your bike is working, you just have to spend years on your bike to be able to feel it. And at the beginning, it really helped me to have Matt, because Matt is he's a bit taller than me, but we ride the same size of the bike, like how the bars turn and stuff. So it gave me a lot of confidence to trust him. And since the beginning, I never had any really big issues with anything. And also now, like since 2 years, I can give him also really good feedback and just getting better now.
Yeah. Matt's actually also a very good rider too, right?
Yeah, Matt also used to do World Cups and stuff, but he always crashed, he said. So he knows how it works, but I think he never really finished a lot of races, to be honest.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, we love Matt. So, all right, so SRAM TLD, you break out sort of on your own. You start to build a team around you. But you were still a junior,
Yeah.
right? And you're starting to see some success. I'm curious, at that time, who were some of the athletes that you looked up to, that you followed in your career, that you tried to either resemble or, do what they did or follow in their footsteps?
Well, I mean, my biggest hero always was Rachel Atherton. I think that's also one of the reasons why I started racing, because she just inspired me so much, and it just gave me a lot of motivation to chase my dream and keep going. But to be honest, like the people that like influenced me the most when I met them was Cecile Ravanel, who is now my coach and kind of my mentor, because she was actually the only rider at the first World Cup in Croatia that actually talked to me and went riding with me, because that's something super weird in the downhill scene, that not a lot of girls share and ride together, because I don't know why. Maybe they're scared someone sees their lines, or I don't know. It's super sad. But Cecile was like so open and welcoming, and I was like, oh my God, she's the coolest. And I'm so stoked that now she's my coach and like helps me out so much, because I mean the last 2 seasons were pretty insane, and I give her a lot of credit for that as well.
Yeah, that's amazing. Now, if I understand it right, Cecile's officially retired from professional racing, right? She just
Yeah,
helps manage people and athletes and teams, right?
exactly. Yeah.
She's great. Also, another really important relationship. Your last season of SRAM TLD, you had some pretty exciting victories as well, didn't you?
Yeah, let me think. SRAM TLD. Right, I had the first junior season, I had a perfect season. I won all the World Cups and junior world champs. Second season, I won the World Cup overall as well and junior world championships. I didn't win all the races. I got 2 times second, but I think that's okay. It's acceptable. And then first elite season, COVID year as well, which was like super strange for everyone. I think the biggest highlight of that year was actually that I finished school and did my A finals. That was like really
Mm.
important for me. Like that was always one of my main goals. And I won my first elite race at Crankworks Innsbruck, and the weekend after was Leogang World Champs. And unfortunately, I broke my ankle there. But to be fair, like I didn't really miss out on anything, because it was a weird season anyway with COVID, and it was my first season, and I didn't really expect anything. So yeah, was quite cool. Okay.
Crazy. Tell me about the broken ankle. As a cyclist, you need your legs and your feet, right?
Mm.
How difficult was a broken ankle to recover from?
Well, it was super interesting for me, because it was my first big injury. Like I never had surgery before that, and I never had to go for rehab, and I was never for such a long time in like a weird position where I was not allowed to walk or like put any pressure on it. So yeah, it was, on one hand it was super exciting, because the whole process was so new to me, and I kind of had to adapt it, and I was super curious how stuff is working. And yeah, it took quite a long time until I got the movement back. I still struggle with my ankles sometimes, like it's still super stiff at some point. And I also needed a second surgery, because I just had no mobility in my ankle. And yeah, it's cool if you do it one time, but I don't want to do it every season.
Do you have any hardware, any pins or screws in your foot or your
No,
ankle?
not anymore, because that's why I had the second surgery, because the surgeon said I should leave them in, but I just couldn't reach my mobility. And for biking, I needed that extra bit of mobility. It was funny because I could go skiing already. It was fine in the ski boot, but like riding my bike was like impossible. So I went to a different surgeon and they removed it and they said it's gonna be fine. And yeah, it was fine.
Cool. Well, certainly physical challenges, can be overcome sometimes, sometimes not. But also in your field, a lot of what you do is mental, right? So I'm curious, how do you get in the right headspace? How do you overcome, pressure that might get to you mentally? And how do you overcome that?
Well, I guess for all the people who followed my last two seasons, they saw that I struggled a bit always at the beginning of the season. I don't really know why it happened two times in a row. I thought after last season it's done and next season is going to be better, but I kind of repeated the same thing. I just started peaking at the end of the season. So I think my main issue was that I just wanted to be that perfect athlete. Like I didn't go to any parties, I didn't hang out with my friends much, and I just looked at the results. But at the end of the day, that's total sorry bullshit, because if you want to be a good and happy fast racer, you have to enjoy your life and do stuff that normal people do as well, because you need that quality time. Like you have to be serious about your training on one hand and do everything your coach tells you to do, but on the other hand, you have to be super happy in your head, and that's only working if you find the stuff that you like. Is it going skiing, or is it going to a party every now and then, and just do stuff that especially normal 19, 20-year-old people are doing, because otherwise you just get crazy and you're going to burn out super quick.
Do you think that this last year, 2022, you had a more balanced approach then?
Or I think it kind of took me again like three, four slams in a race run to realize that I should not look at the results, because every time I raced, I tried to impress other people, and I thought, okay, they're only gonna like me if I'm gonna do well and have a good result on that last run. But that's not true, because like you're performing the whole weekend from the first day of practice through qualifying day through race day, and people on track see your performance, but people outside, they only see your final run, and they don't know that you're fucking ripping the whole weekend already. They just see that you crashed in that
Yeah.
last corner in your race run, and that's all they're gonna talk about. And I kind of had to learn to not think about what other people think, and since I stopped doing that, it kind of worked out way better for me.
Yeah. Do you work with a mental coach or someone to help you get in the right headspace, or do you think your team around you helps you?
Yeah, I try to do it, but it's not really working for me. I'm not a kind of person who likes to talk about it. First of all, I was always a bit like, I just didn't want to talk about what's not working out, because I was already so down anyway and sad. So I needed people who like cheer me up, and luckily I got some really good friends around me that
Yeah.
like helped me. We went out to a party after Lenzerheide when I crashed like the fourth time in a row, and I was so down because I just didn't know what's going on, because like every qualifying I'm there. Like I know I have the speed, and then for my race run it's just not happening, and it's like super frustrating. And I went out with my friend. We had a super deep talk at like 3 a.m. in the morning, and the weekend after I won my first World Cup in Andorra. So
That's
I
awesome.
don't know. We just had a really cool conversation, and I since Andorra actually I'm in a super good mood, and I hope I can keep it until June when the races start.
So yeah, let's talk about the current your current setup. So you transitioned from SRAM TLD to RockShox Trek. Similar infrastructure, some changes to sponsorship, big change to the bike. You moved from YT over to Trek. How's that transition gone?
Well, it was pretty cool. We knew we have to step it up to be a good elite team, and for me it was important to actually have more riders in the team, because I always feel a bit weird when like there's a team only around me. I feel like with the setup we have and this interest of sponsors, we should help other people as well. And we were such a cool team when we started RockShox Track Race Team, because we were actually the youngest team at the race circuit, and it was
Yeah.
just cool showing up with our nice tent and cool kits and nice bike, and yeah, we did quite okay, I guess.
Nice. Let's talk about 2022. So, pretty incredible year. Obviously, as you shared, uh, a bumpy start, but you peaked and you did pretty well. Tell us about Leger World Championships. It was a gnarly course. I was there. I saw you there. It was pretty cool. And I was nervous when I saw you when we first said hi. You had just come back from a training ride. I don't think it was qualies. I think it might have been qualies. I'm not sure. But you had a little bobble on the course and you hit your butt pretty hard.
Hmm.
And you were a little bit freaked out. You were pissed off. The course was muddy. The forecast was weird over the next couple of days. Tell us about that moment and then what happened on final day.
Well, Liché was a super weird weekend. So the race before was Mountain Anne. I won that World Cup, which was like pretty insane because Mountain Anne is also such an early track, and to win it as a young racer is pretty cool and it means a lot. So
Yeah.
I came into Liché, but I didn't really expect anything of World Champs because the last two times I attended Elite World Champs, they didn't end well anyway. Like Leogang, I crashed out, Vali I crashed. So yeah, I was like, well, another weekend. So yeah, qualifying didn't go as planned as I wanted in Liché. Like I was quite far back, and I was struggling because like there were so many line options on this kind of track. And then we have that extra day of training at World Champs where you saw me crashing and coming back to the pits, and it was just like a super weird situation because I knew it's gonna start raining, and then I talked to my coach, and Cecile said, "Oh, you don't need to do a fourth run." And then Matt said, "Oh, you should do a fourth run because what if it's gonna rain and we didn't test the rain tires yet? Go up and do
Right.
another one." And I went up and had like a super gnarly crash, and I crashed on my butt, and it was super painful, and I was like so pissed because like why did I do it? Why didn't I listen to Cecile? And I was just I didn't trust myself at all. Like I didn't trust myself at all until I dropped in for my race run. And I had so many doubts. And I remember the break before my race run, I sat in the pits and I looked at Cecile and said, "It's the first time I'm not feeling prepared at all." Like normally at the World Cups, I know it's going to be okay. It's going to be good. It's going to be okay. I know I have the chance to win. When I came to Leger, I was like, I feel like I didn't even like practice. Like it's so weird. I don't trust myself at all. And then Cecile just said, it's gonna be fine. Everything is good. And if you don't do well, nobody cares. You still have so many other chances because you're still so
Yeah.
young. So I went up with Matt. I did my warm up. Yeah, I kind of felt like always a bit nervous. Like I was happy it's gonna be the last run. Blah blah blah. And I went to the start gate. And then normally Matt is always super quiet, like we don't really talk much at the start. And then when the clock said 10 seconds, Matt screamed like, "Get them." And it was such a weird moment because like, something in my head switched. And I was like, sure, like why not fucking try it? If I crash now, it's not gonna distract my World Cup overall standing. Let's just fucking go. And that's what I did. And it worked out. I didn't crash. And I won World Champs. So it was pretty insane.
So amazing. So amazing. I got chills. I'm gonna have to talk to Matt about that. Whatever that was that he discovered to say that to you.
Yeah, I also wonder because like normally he never says anything, and he was just like, "Yeah, let's go."
That's cool. Valley, you're 21 now. You've got some really cool success and growth through the years. What have you learned most about yourself over the past couple of years that sort of has gotten you to this space that you are right now?
Well, I'm still like discovering myself every day because I feel like I changed a lot as a person the last 2 seasons. Like I'm growing up, I'm becoming an adult super slowly, but I am like more mature. And something that I discovered is that just don't give a fuck what other people think about you. Like you don't need to impress anyone. You have to be a nice person and stay happy and help your family and your closest friends, but everyone else, they're not important in your life. Whatever people write on the internet or, talk about you, write in articles, like they don't know you. Like people can only judge you if they know you, but they don't. And that's something I had to learn.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good perspective. All right, changing gears to the sort of wrap up of our show, we call it the cool down. It's really where we talk about the responsibility of athletes like yourself, especially professional athletes, and what they do to give back, to make this world a better place, to invest in community. And I know you have something really special, which is the Vali Höll Performance Camps. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so that's actually something I came up by myself because I also went to like a kids camp when I was younger, but it was always with boys. And I also heard from a lot of girls like they don't do races because they actually, you have to race within a mixed group. You always have to race against the boys. They were scared that the boys gonna catch them in the race run, and they just didn't feel super comfortable, starting a new sport with boys because they always try to push you and be
Yeah.
better than you. So I thought, like, why not give them a safe space? Kind of sounds weird, but like, just give them a weekend where it's only going to be us girls. And for me, I kind of decided to host like a workshop over like 2 or 3 days at my parents' chalet, the Spielberg house. Invite them to my place where I grew up, so they actually see where I used to live,
Yeah.
and they can ride my home trails. And girls who already have some racing experience can apply, and we're gonna pick the riders. So I picked 5 riders, and we had really cool days. We did a lot of riding. We talked about like line choice, technique, also like social media stuff, like how to be an athlete, how to become a professional. And I think that's really important because like when I was that young, I would have loved to do a camp with Rachel or Miriam
Yeah.
or other pro riders, but I can get it. It's like super hard work. It's super stressful, and it's always hard to, do it in your season. But I could see that they really enjoyed it, and I hope I can influence someone like Rachel that influenced me and inspired me to start racing. That would be my biggest dream, just to be an inspiration for other young kids.
That's cool. Could you see placing one of those girls on the RockShox Trek race team as a junior?
Yep, I can.
That'd be cool, right?
Mm.
Valley, is this something that you will do every year and just keep going and growing?
Yeah, definitely. So what I did last season was that at the end of the season in October, I think, the IXS Cup, they do like a rookies world championships. So we kind of decided to give the winner of each girls category a voucher to my camp.
Mm.
So the 2 winner girls already got the voucher, and I just need to figure out when to do the camp. I think the best is before my World Cup season because last season I did it like 2 days after Mountain End and 1 week before World Champs. So it was a
Oh, wow.
bit tough, a bit stressful, but it kind of worked out for me, so it was good.
That's cool. And do these girls stay connected to you as well now? Are you giving them advice off season?
But they're super shy, I know, like every time, like some of the girls now I see here in Innsbruck in the gym and stuff, and I know how it is because I'm still super nervous when I have to talk to Rachel or Miriam. So like they barely, you can see them always looking at you, but they barely speak up and stuff. So I totally know how it is. I love it when people are shy and they're not like, oh, look at me, like I'm 14 and I can like do this and that. So I like people who are like super down to earth and like stay true to themselves and not be the loudest, but let the riding do the talking, you know.
That's cool. I'm super excited that you started that. So that's the Vali Höll Performance Camp. Vali, as you said, you're young, and you've got a huge career and life ahead of you. If you could look into the future, what are some areas that you might be interested in expanding on in your community like that? Or is it too soon to tell?
Well, to be fair, I feel like as a young person, it's super hard to think about stuff like this already because, I'm still struggling so much with myself and to think about stuff like this. But I think like I'm a really structured person. I'm already thinking a lot about something I could do. Like for me, my main step is, to be honest, to make downhill biking bigger in Austria anyway. Like I don't feel like we get the recognition we deserve, and also to make it easier for girls to actually step up into racing. And I feel like something that we already changed is that when I used to race the Rookies Cup races where I had to race with the boys in one category, now they actually changed it and they made a separate girls class and a
Yeah.
separate boys class. And it's so cool to see because I talked about it so many times in interviews and stuff, and it's nice to see that they actually changed it. And now
Yeah.
like there's a big group of girls stepping up, and if they're gonna race World Cups, I'm gonna be scared because they're super fast.
Well, you've got a few years on them though, so hopefully
Yeah, I'm just gonna retire in 5 years. So once they're 18, they don't need to kick my ass because I'm already gone.
you can just become the coach and the mentor.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Well, that's great, Vali. I've had an awesome time talking with you and hearing more about your story. We're just about out of time, but I do have one last question. If there was a young girl out there listening to this podcast, let's say she was 13 years old and she didn't like the cold, she loved bikes, she was interested in pursuing a career in cycling, what advice would you give her?
Well, just follow it, and even if you crash 4 times in a row, on the fifth time it's gonna work out 100%.
That's great. All right, Vali. Well, that's a wrap. Thank you so much. Great to see you. Have an awesome start of the season. Get in
Thank
the
you.
gym, get out on the bike, and I will see you soon at one of the races.
Oh, definitely. Thank you so much.
All right, take care.
Bye.